Japan developed country cultured and beautiful sceneries everywhere in this world. But today we are here to witness the most unexpected something about Japan, which is perhaps the most dangerous country in this world. Does that sound ridiculous? Let's break it down. Now, before you pass judgment on this, let's clear things first. We are not talking about the kind of danger you think is in war zones or at violent places. Now let's look at some factors that may not ring a bell when you first see them. But if you delve deeper, it paints a picture of a country facing certain risks which are no less alarming. So let's get started. Japan is sitting on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which brought it the name for one of the most geologically active places in the globe. But this is not everything. The nation also frequently battles tsunamis, eruptions of volcanic ash, as well as even typhoons. Japan experiences almost 1,500 earthquakes a year. Some of these can be very potent enough to create nearly complete devastation. In the case of Tohoku, which shocked Japan in 2011, almost everything was crushed on its path by an horribly devastating tsunami, and over 15,000 human lives have been lost, whereas over 300,000 are left homeless. But the most daunting aspect? Japan's population density in earthquake-prone zones. A person could be residing in a high-rise apartment. One never knows when the earth under can start to shake. But even as Japan's infrastructure is world-class, no country is completely immune to these acts of nature. Japan is perceived to be at the forefront in matters of technology, be it world-class robotics to artificial intelligence. And that is where the danger starts. When dependence on technological supremacy goes amiss. Over the last few years, Japan has trended towards becoming a highly automated society. It's in practically every industry from healthcare to transportation. And though it may make life more convenient, the country becomes ever more vulnerable to cyberattacks or system malfunctions and other kinds of technological failures. Remember the 2011 Fukushima disaster? Although it was sparked by an earthquake and a tsunami, what really made this a disaster is when technology went haywire with its nuclear reactors. That alone tells us even the most developed of tech may be bound for a failure point when taken too far. Japan's dependency on technology will make one cyber attack cripple entire sectors in healthcare to national defense. Well, think of the critical systems being compromised. This is something that is a reality and for which Japan has been fighting desperately to defend it. Another silent threat to Japan looms: swelling population graying at such rapid speed by year-end. By 2030, nearly one-third of the Japanese will be over 65 years. On the other hand, birth rate is dwindling, thus the youths were not enough to take the empty places in the workforce. This demographic shift is taking such a huge toll on the healthcare system of the country as well as in the labor market. Labor shortages have already started afflicting the economy, primarily in healthcare and agriculture plus construction. So if an increasingly aging population one day turns all its attention towards healthcare, there might be anybody to administer the care, says it. Without a large enough body of young people to feed into the economy, Japan might never find itself as rich again as it is currently. Even that labor shortage will end in stagnation and recession of such scale and intensity it will prove tenfold worse. The work culture in Japan is one that adds to their dangerous situation because by reputation there is this said long hours to work with significant pressure in relation to the highly competitive job market, a result being a very real mental health problem. It is found that the suicide rate among the youth groups in Japan is even higher than several other countries. The permanent stress from these expectations, good performance on the job site, and solving personal issues that many face result in mental failure. And the mental health system? Grossly underfunded and stigmatized. Most of the people will not even think about seeking help because of all the cultural taboos that surround mental illness, leading to growing feelings of isolation and hopelessness. It's a silent crisis the country needs to pay attention to before it spirals further. Now let me discuss Japan's geopolitical status around the world. Japan is in a stage where tensions are increasing around it, especially with its neighbors China and North Korea. North Korea's unpredictability has always created some sort of concern in Japan. Its missiles and its aggressiveness are things Japan has always been concerned with. Then comes China, the ever-rising superpower that now rules the seas around Japan with regard to their respective territorial claims over the East China Sea. Japan's military spending is increasing as a direct consequence of these tensions, but with growing tensions around the world, Japan may be in a tight spot. Japan is not exactly what one might typically describe as a dangerous country, yet those dangers Japan happens to be undergoing are in different ways distinct and manifold, from natural disaster scenarios to technology exposure, demographics change, psychological ills, international tensions, to enumerate a few of the kinds that make living and surviving within Japanese borders more intricately difficult perhaps in world history. Despite its reputation as one of the safest and most organized countries in the world, Japan's future depends on how it addresses these challenges. And perhaps that is the most dangerous thing of all, the uncertainty surrounding the solutions to these issues. So is Japan really the most dangerous country? Well, that depends on your perspective. The dangers are not always in view, but they are there silently ticking away, waiting to be addressed. The question is, how will Japan ever really navigate its way forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is Japan really in danger, or is this just something normal that can happen in Japan? Hit that like button if you found the video informative. And don't forget to subscribe for more great discussions on worldwide issues.